All right, that was an interesting bit of business there in the Oval Office. President Trump essentially conducting a show and tell in this high-stakes meeting in the Oval Office between President Donald Trump and the South African President, Cyril Ramaphosa. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Terry Moran. Those two world leaders met amid heightened tension between the two nations after President Trump accused South Africa of allowing race-based genocide to occur against white farmers in that country.
I must tell you, Mr. President, we have had a tremendous number of people, especially since they've seen this. Generally, they're white farmers, and they're fleeing South Africa, and it's a very sad thing to see. But I hope we can have an explanation of that, because I know you don't want that.
South African officials, including Ramaphosa, have vehemently pushed back against these claims. South African native and one of Trump's top advisors, Elon Musk, has been amplifying the, quote, white genocide claims. That's what it's called. This is a contested issue in South Africa. White genocide is what it's called. And he was present. You can see him there. Elon Musk for Ramaphosa's visit today. So joining me now, senior White House correspondent Selena Wang and our South African producer, Liesl Tom. So, Selena, first to you. What a show and tell it was. These two leaders, they've got different opinions on what's going on with white farmers in South Africa. And what was the actual business that was meant to be conducted here? Why is it, was Ramaphosa there only to humiliate him, or was there actual business being done?
Yeah, well, Terry, first of all, I mean, this was an extraordinary more than 1 hour meeting that we saw play out in front of the public. And what was really remarkable was how the South African president carefully planned this out clearly to try and appeal to the president in a variety of ways. He started the meeting by praising President Trump, thanking him for the help during the COVID-19 pandemic. He brought two professional golfers with him that President Trump is fans of. He also said he was gifting the president a 14-kilogram book about golf. And really, the start of this meeting was very cordial. You had both leaders talking about wanting to enhance economic ties. The president of South Africa saying he wanted to deepen investments between these two countries. But then from there, it very quickly devolved into this dispute about these allegations that President Trump and Elon Musk, the South African billionaire, have been making, despite the South African president trying to convince President Trump that what he said is untrue. The president appeared unmoved, but at times, Terry, you even had the professional golfers weighing in. You had other members of the delegation. There was a striking moment when a reporter asked President Trump, what would it take for you to believe that there are not genocide being committed toward these white farmers? And the South African president, Terry, actually jumped in and he said that it would take President Trump's friends, some of whom he brought, it would take President Trump listening to them to understand that what he believes is untrue. And just to point out as well that President Trump, ever the producer in chief, he dimmed the light. He asked the team to dim the lights at one point, rolled the video to try and bolster his claims. You could see that the South African president during that moment was visibly surprised, and at one point said he didn't know where these videos were coming from. He hadn't seen them. We do not know the source, Terry, of the videos that were played.
Okay, thank you for that recap. That was very helpful, Selena. Let me go to Liesl now in South Africa. So, Liesl, I did a story, 10 years ago or more on this problem that white farmers in South Africa have with there are attacks on farms, et cetera, et cetera. As someone in South Africa, how critical is this meeting for your country, and what did you make of what you just saw?
Terry, this meeting is exceptionally critical because, as President Ramaphosa said, South Africa is a very small country and the US is huge, and we need as much help as we can get. The issue in South Africa is not white genocide. The issue in South Africa is crime. If you take into consideration that 75 people are murdered in South Africa every day, out of every 100,000 people, 45 of them are being killed in South Africa. Those numbers are very similar to war-torn countries. So even though we do not have a war in South Africa, we are losing people, civilians, at the same rate as a country that is actively engaged in war. So South Africa needs help. The US can offer this help. And President Trump made it clear that he wants to help solve this problem of the white genocide, which is not the real problem. The real problem is crime, which then would lead into discussions of how the US can help South Africa overcome the problem of crime. And then the bigger issue behind that is economics. South Africa's jobless figures are astronomical. I think we have the highest unemployment rate in the world, of almost 40%. And that is why we need the US's help to get our economy going, to create jobs.
So this was a critical meeting, as you say, Liesl. Tom, thank you very much for explaining that to us. And Selena, once again, thanks for your recap.